The Maiasaura Dig, the study of Dr. Holly Woodward Ballard. Today we're going to continue looking at the section, The Search for the Tiniest Bones. Follow along as I read to you. Every bone discovery is exciting for me, but you might be surprised to hear that the smallest Maiasaura bones, not the largest, are the most thrilling to find. This is because we still know very little about how dinosaurs grew up from tiny hatchlings into adults. So, the tiniest bones can give us the most important clues. On my last dig at the Brandvold Quarry in the Egg Mountain area, I was on the hunt for baby bones. But there were so many bones in the quarry. How would I find a tiny bone in the piles of large and broken bones? I wasn't sure that my search would be successful. The area where my crew and I were digging is surrounded by hilly grassland. The grass is normally a deep green, but it was beginning to turn golden yellow from the summer sun and heat. We could see the jagged Rocky Mountains to the west. The Branville Quarry is about 64 square meters. A crew that had been there before us had already removed about 15 feet of rock. This exposed the fossil layer. At first, we needed to remove the sediment on top so we could get to more of the bones. We used shovels and pickaxes to scrape off the sediment, and then we loaded the dirt and rock into a wheelbarrow and removed it from the site. Sometimes the rock was so hard, we even had to use a jackhammer. Before long, we were only about 2 feet above the bone layer. We started using smaller hand tools like awls, whisk brooms, and brushes. Gently, we removed the rest of the sediment and uncovered the bones. There were so many bones. We found them almost anywhere we dug. We could spot them in the gray mudstone because of their dark black color. We could also identify them by the sound they would make when scraped by the awl. The bones sounded like porcelain or glass when scraped, but the mudstone sounds more dull. The shape and texture were our last clues. Bones are usually symmetrical in shape, and if a bone is broken, the inside looks sort of spongy. Every time we found a bone, we would record it. We used meter squares in the field and grid paper. Data collection is so important in paleontology. It can help us understand the environment where the bones were buried and the age of the rocks. Sometimes we could even figure out the cause of death. It was nearing the end of our time at Branville Quarry. We had found so many bones, but I was beginning to think we wouldn't find any tiny ones. But then, on one of the last days, a tiny black line caught my eye. I carefully moved pieces of the mudstone from around the bone. Then I gently brushed the bone surface, applying a special glue to the bone as I went. Once the entire surface was uncovered, I could see that it was a tiny Maiasaura femur. The bone was only about 15 centimeters long. At last, I had found my tiny bone. I recorded my find in the meter squares in the field and on grid paper. I couldn't wait to tell my team. After the dig, I planned to take it back to my lab. I wanted to analyze the bone so I could learn more about the dinosaur's age and how fast it grew. At the end of the dig, my team and I were so excited about all the Maiasaura bones we had found. We were the first human beings to uncover the remains of these awesome creatures from 76 million years ago. And I was especially thrilled to have finally found the tiny femur. What an incredible feeling!